Human history is marked by a cruel paradox. The more man tries to escape the abyss of scarcity, the more he seems to be pulled to the bottom. There exists, however, an invisible mechanism operating beneath the chaos. An age-old law that most of us, in our desperate haste, end up using as a weapon against our own destiny. What emerges from the Hermetic texts of Thoth is not a simple consolation, but a strategy almost heretical by modern standards. The scribe of the gods suggests something that defies our most basic logic. For abundance to finally find you, you must first commit the audacious act of turning your back on your current misery. And, crucially, keep this plan guarded under the utmost secrecy. This isn't about empty optimism. I've seen firsthand how superficial positive thinking fails when faced with the weight of reality. It's actually a tactical retreat of energy. By ceasing the flow of attention to recurring problems, the structure of your current reality begins to wither, deprived of the nourishment that sustains it. I will guide you through a 3-act method to apply this forgotten science. The first step, which can be taken now, drastically alters the observer's frequency. But it is the union of the 3, sealed by the pact of silence, that makes prosperity an inevitable fact, not a mere hope. Stay with me. Understanding this mechanism means ceasing to fight the shadow on the wall and finally controlling the light that projects it. If you've reached your limit and are willing to ignore what the world says is real in order to build something new, leave a comment below. I am ready to silence the echo. Do you feel it? That persistent sensation that the more you fight, the more the quicksand of your current reality consumes you. The lack, the difficulty, the problem you face every day in the mirror doesn't seem to diminish with your attention. On the contrary, it gains strength, as if your struggle were its sustenance. What if I told you that this perception isn't a mistake? That you've been trained to look in the wrong direction, to fight the echo instead of silencing the voice that creates it? This knowledge didn't come to you by chance. It found you because the cycle of repetition in your life reached a point of saturation. Change is no longer an option. It has become an unavoidable necessity. Your current reality is a mirror, but a mirror that reflects with a delay. You have been positioning yourself before it, reacting to the image it shows, without realizing that each of your reactions is a new order for the mirror to continue reflecting the same scene. The frustration you feel at the lack of money is the seed that guarantees the harvest of more lack tomorrow. The anguish in the face of loneliness is the magnetic field that repels the connection you seek. You are trapped in a dialogue with the past, believing you are conversing with the present. And this confusion is the architecture of your stagnation. This is exactly where most of us end up getting stuck. We understand that reality is a reflection, but we feel like the delay of that mirror is way too long. That happens because, as I recently read, we're trying to run a high-powered consciousness on a mental system that's still operating at low voltage. I decided to put this information together in a practical guide for you based on the Hermetic alchemy we've been discussing here. It teaches you how to prepare your inner architect so that this new image of prosperity isn't just a wish, but a frequency that the mirror of reality can't ignore. If you want to speed up this process and get the step-by-step for this reprogramming, I left the link to the Thoth code in the first pinned comment of this video. It's an essential complement to what we're about to explore more deeply now. The instruction of Thoth, the scribe of hidden truths, is not an invitation to fantasy or denial. It is a strategic guideline. Ignoring reality does not mean pretending that the accounts don't exist, or that the pain isn't real. It means withdrawing your emotional focus, your energetic investment, from them. It is ceasing to feed the shadow with your attention. You must learn to observe the current scenario as a historian observes a past event, with recognition, but without emotional involvement. It is a fact, not a destiny. It is the result of an ancient vibration, not the definition of your now. Think of your focus as the only light in a dark room. Everything you illuminate grows and gains detail. For years you've kept that light fixed on your problems, your limitations, what's missing. You've become an expert in your own scarcity, capable of describing it with painful precision. Prosperity, peace, fulfillment are in the same room, but in the shadows, hungry for your attention. The order to ignore reality is, in fact, an order to redirect your light. It's an act of courage to turn your back on the monster you yourself nurtured, so that it, without food, begins to wither. This is the turning point. The moment you stop fighting the reflex and begin to move in a new way. Prosperity will not come to you because you wished for it more strongly, but because you stopped pushing it with your vibration of need. Fighting the present is the most subtle form of self-sabotage. It is an act of unconscious loyalty to suffering. You have become so accustomed to battle that peace seems like an unknown and dangerous territory. But the truth is that your true nature is flow, not resistance. The first step is not to affirm positively, but to remain silent negatively. It's about creating a vacuum, a space of neutrality where the old reality loses its power and the new one hasn't yet solidified. It's a state of pure observation, devoid of judgment. You look at your bank account and feel neither despair nor false euphoria. You simply observe. You face the challenge and refuse to give it the drama it craves. This act of conscious withdrawal is the key that opens the first door. It's the beginning of dismantling your self-imposed prison. By doing this, you become a ghost to your old reality. It searches for your reaction, your fear, your anger, and finds nothing. It loses its anchor point in you. And in that silence, in that empty space that you bravely create, something new can finally begin to breathe. You are cutting the threads that connect you to the matrix of scarcity. Your indifference becomes your greatest weapon. And it is from this neutrality that true alchemy begins, because what you place on a pedestal becomes unattainable. That goal, that objective you've placed on a pedestal, shines so brightly that it overshadows everything else. The promotion, financial security, peace in your relationship. You've made it the key to your happiness, and in doing so, you've chained your soul to a future condition. What you haven't realized is that, by elevating this single possibility, you've declared war on your entire present. This excessive importance, this visceral need, emits such a powerful frequency of lack that the universe, in its impartial wisdom, can do nothing but mirror more of this absence. Your devotion to what is lacking is the anchor that keeps you exactly where you don't want to be. This overvaluation creates an energetic polarity. On one side, there is your glorified desire, shining like a distant sun. On the other, there is you, here and now, living in the shadow cast by that same sun. The distance between the 2 points is filled with unbearable tension, a vibration of I don't have. And this vibration is a much clearer instruction to the universe than any positive affirmation you can recite. You can say I am prosperous 1,000 times, but if your body screams, I desperately need money, reality will respond to the scream, not the whisper. The goal itself isn't the problem. Your relationship with it is. By placing it on a pedestal, you define it as something external, separate, and superior to you. You position yourself like a beggar before a king, pleading for a favor. But true creation doesn't happen through supplication, but through resonance. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And as long as you are the personification of lack, abundance will have no way of finding you. It is of a different vibrational nature. and like two magnets with the same polarity, you repel each other. This dynamic explains why things often happen precisely when you give up, when the weariness of the struggle leads you to a state of surrender. When you finally say whatever it takes, the excessive importance dissolves. The energetic pressure disappears. Without realizing it, you remove the goal from its pedestal and place it beside you, as a possibility, not a necessity. And at that exact moment of neutrality, the path opens. Resistance ceases, and the flow can finally happen. You didn't succeed because you gave up, but because you stopped resisting. The mind, however, interprets this need as a virtue. It believes that the more you worry, the more you demonstrate that you care, and the closer you are to achieving your goal. This is a trap of linear logic. In the quantum field of manifestation, worry is a prayer for the permanence of the problem. Every moment of anxiety about the future is an act of constructing an anxious future. You are using your powerful imagination to rehearse disaster, to feel the lack even before it is confirmed, thus guaranteeing its arrival. The secret is learning to desire without needing. It's transforming your life or death goals into preferences. I prefer to have more money, but my peace doesn't depend on it. I prefer to be in a relationship, but my wholeness already exists here and now. This shift in attitude is seismic. It moves you from the position of victim of circumstances to that of a sovereign observer of your field of possibilities. You become ground zero, the calm center of the hurricane, from where all realities can be generated effortlessly. This internal recalibration is what ancient traditions called detachment, not as coldness, but as freedom. It's the understanding that you are already complete, and that external manifestations are merely a game, a dance, an expression of your inner fullness, and not its source. By diminishing importance, you don't diminish your power, you release it. You stop creating a tension that the universe itself needs to combat to maintain its balance. Physicist Vadim Zeland called these balancing forces. When you attach excessive importance to something, you create a pocket of high energy pressure, an artificial distortion in the fabric of reality. Nature, in its relentless pursuit of harmony, acts to neutralize this anomaly. These forces are not a punishment. They are the universe's automatic response to restore balance. They manifest as obstacles, delays, and inexplicable failures that arise in your path. The universe is not blocking your dream. It is desperately trying to dissolve the tension that your own overvaluation has created. Imagine you're trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The more force you apply to sink it, the more the buoyant force pushes it upwards with an equal and opposite force. Its excessive importance lies in this downward pressure. Equilibrium forces are the inevitable and powerful force of water, seeking to return to its natural level. The car breaking down on payday, the client backing out at the last minute, the opportunity vanishing without explanation. It's not bad luck. It's the physics of equilibrium in action, neutralizing your pressure. These forces are impartial. They don't judge your desire as good or bad. They only respond to energetic distortion. An excess of negative importance, like intensely hating your job, also creates excessive potential. The balancing forces, in this case, will work to keep you stuck in that job, because your energy of hatred connects you to it as powerfully as the energy of adoration. The universe doesn't understand words, it understands frequency. And the frequency of obsession, whether out of love or hate, is a sign of imbalance that needs to be contained. The solution is to navigate life lightly. It's about gliding on the waves of reality instead of trying to control them. This translates into a playful attitude. You define your intention, you choose your direction, but you move without the weight of necessity. You play to win, but your inner peace is not at stake. This attitude disarms the forces of balance. Without an excessive potential to neutralize, they have no reason to act against you. The path becomes surprisingly free of obstacles. The fundamental mistake is believing that the intensity of your emotion accelerates its manifestation. In reality, emotional intensity, especially that of need, is the brake. True power resides in calm certainty, in the tranquility of someone who knows that what is theirs is already on its way. It's a state of being, not a state of doing. It's the frequency of allowing, not of pursuing. When you operate from this calm center, the forces of balance become your allies, removing obstacles from your path because you are no longer creating the pressure that generates them. Learning to manage importance is the master skill of conscious creation. Start observing in your life where you are applying too much pressure. Where are you trying to force an outcome? Where has your happiness become conditional? Identify these points of high tension. They are the sources of your recurring problems. Your task is not to fight anymore, but rather to let go. Reducing importance is not giving up on your dream, it's opening the only door through which it can enter. By doing this, you get out of the way. You stop being the bottleneck of your own flow. Prosperity is not something you need to build brick by brick. It's a river that flows naturally. Your only task is to stop building dams with your neediness, your fear, and your excessive self-importance. The weight you feel is not the weight of the world. It's the weight of your own resistance to it. The real obstacle was never the size of your dream or your ability to achieve it. It was the overwhelming weight of importance you attached to it. By defining your goal as something vital, external, and separate from yourself, you initiated a cycle of struggle. You placed yourself in the position of a hunter pursuing elusive prey, instead of a creator allowing their creation to flourish naturally. This externalization is the root of the feeling of striving, of rowing against an invisible tide. You are not allowing prosperity to arrive. You are desperately trying to capture it, and this energy of lack is, by nature, a repulsive force. When you say, "I need that money to be happy," you create a fracture in your own consciousness. You divide yourself in two: the incomplete self of now and the happy self that will only exist in the future, after the money arrives. This division is the source of all anxiety. You begin to live in a state of waiting, of non-presence. Your energy is not here, creating, but there, waiting. And the universe, which can only respond to your present state of being, reflects back to you the experience of waiting, of lack, of incompleteness. Prosperity, in its essence, is an inner state of sufficiency. It's the feeling of already having enough, regardless of external circumstances. It is from this state that material abundance manifests as a natural effect, not as a cause. You have been trying to use money to buy the feeling of prosperity, when the real mechanism is the opposite. You must first cultivate the feeling of prosperity so that money can appear. The map you have been using is upside down. This external importance also makes you vulnerable. When the source of your happiness is outside of yourself, anyone or any circumstance can take it away. You become reactive, defensive, controlling. You try to manage the outside world to protect your fragile possibility of happiness. This control is an illusion and a source of endless exhaustion. True power lies not in controlling the world, but in controlling your response to it. And this is only possible when your source of peace and fulfillment is internal and unconditional. The fundamental shift is bringing the goal inward. Instead of visualizing the money in your account, feel the security, freedom, and generosity that you believe money would bring you. Embody the state of being. Don't pursue it as something external. Become its vibration now. If you want love, be the most loving person you can be. If you want peace, Cultivate peace amidst your current chaos. You become the magnet for the experience you are already emitting. This internalization dissolves the sense of importance and necessity. The goal ceases to be a condition for your happiness and becomes an expression of it. The desperate search transforms into a creative dance. You no longer need the world to change for you to feel good. You feel good, and then the world changes as an inevitable reflection. You stop asking reality for permission to be happy and begin to give reality permission to align with your already existing happiness. This is the secret behind so many traditions. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Your external reality is a projection of your inner universe. Stop trying to decorate the projection room. Instead, change the film that's playing in the projector. Your physical reality is merely the delayed echo of that change. Now, the first layer of illusion begins to unravel. Your physical reality, the circumstances you can touch and see, is not the cause of your experience. It is the effect. It is an echo, a delayed reflection of the thoughts, feelings, and focus you have held in the past. Today's bank statement is the crystallization of your financial energy from yesterday. Looking at your problems with frustration is like cursing the weeds in your garden while continuing to plant their seeds. Each wave of anger, fear, or resignation is a new request to the universe, a clear instruction for it to deliver more of the same. You are living in a temporal delay. The reality you perceive with your 5 senses is already old, already history. It is the result of a cause that has already been emitted. Reacting to it is like an actor who, while watching a recording of their play, tries to change their lines on screen. It's useless. The only way to change the play is to act differently in the next recording. Your point of power lies not in reacting to what already is, but in the conscious creation of what will be. And that point of power is always, and only, the present moment. This understanding is liberating. It frees you from guilt and helplessness. Your current circumstances are not a sentence, they are feedback. They are simply showing you what your dominant vibration was. Instead of despair, you may feel curiosity. So that was the frequency I was emitting. Interesting. What do I choose to emit now? You become a scientist in your own reality laboratory, adjusting internal variables to observe changes in external results. The challenge is that the echo is loud. Past reality screams for your attention, using facts, figures, and concrete evidence to convince you that it is the only truth. It presents itself as solid, immutable, and dominant. Your task is to cultivate greater faith in your inner vision than in external evidence. It is to trust the seed you have just planted, even if the garden is still full of yesterday's weeds. It is an act of spiritual discipline, of maintaining focus on the invisible until it becomes visible. Think of it like tuning a radio. Your current reality is the station that's playing, perhaps one of static and bad news. You don't fight the station. You don't yell at the radio. You simply and calmly turn the dial to a new frequency. At first you might hear the static from the old station mixing with the new one, but if you keep your hand steady on the dial, focused on the new frequency, the old station will inevitably fade away, and the new music, the music of prosperity and flow, will become clear and dominant. Every time you react emotionally to your current reality, you are turning the dial back to the old station. You are reinforcing the old frequency and delaying the arrival of the new one. The instruction to ignore reality is the instruction to keep your hand firmly on the new dial, regardless of the noise the radio is still making. It is a deliberate refusal to tune into the frequency of lack, even if it seems to be the only one available. Treat your current reality like yesterday's newspaper. Read the headlines, if you need to, but don't take them as today's news. They are a record of what was. Your work, your true creation, is happening now. in the silence of your inner being, where you are writing tomorrow's headlines. Your loyalty must shift from what your eyes see to what your heart knows is possible. It is in this space that the mind becomes your greatest trap. The human mind is, by nature, a problem-solving machine. When there isn't a real problem, it creates one. It clings to a negative circumstance and repeats it in an endless loop, amplifying its energy and ensuring its recurrence. This is the autopilot that keeps you stuck, recreating the same undesirable conditions day after day. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the silent engine that perpetuates them. The perception of stagnation is an illusion created by the repetitive nature of your own focus. Change is the only constant, but you have been using your creative power to order immutability. This mechanism is an evolutionary remnant. The mind was designed to scan the environment for threats to ensure survival. In the modern world, where physical threats are rare, this function turns inward. The saber-toothed tiger becomes the unpaid bill, a colleague's criticism, the fear of the future. The mind becomes addicted to the adrenaline and cortisol generated by these perceived problems. It finds an identity and a purpose in having something to worry about, something to solve. Peace for this addicted mind is synonymous with boredom, or worse, danger. The cycle is self-reinforcing. The mind focuses on a problem. The body releases stress hormones in response to this focus. Reality, responding to this stress vibration, manifests more problematic circumstances. The mind then looks at this new evidence and says, "See? I was right to worry." It congratulates itself on its vigilance, without realizing that it was the mind that started the fire, so it could later sound the alarm. You are trapped in a feedback loop created and managed by your own mental process. Breaking this habit requires conscious intervention. It requires you to become the observer of your mind, instead of being its slave. When a negative or worried thought arises, instead of following it down the familiar path of anxiety, you simply notice it. There's the mind, doing what it does, telling the old story of fear. You don't fight the thought. You don't judge it. You simply watch it pass, like a cloud in the sky, without identifying with it. You are the sky, not the cloud. This practice of disidentification is the beginning of your freedom. You begin to realize that there is a space between you, your consciousness, and the thoughts your mind produces. In that space lies your power of choice. You can choose not to board the panic train. You can choose not to feed the drama. Each time you make this choice, you weaken the habit of the mind and strengthen your muscle of consciousness. You are literally reconfiguring your neural pathways. A mind addicted to problems hates the present moment. In the now, there is rarely a real problem. In the now, you are simply breathing. You are simply sitting. Problems live almost exclusively in the past, through guilt and resentment, or in the future, through anxiety and fear. By bringing your attention back to the present moment, to the sensation of the air in your lungs, to the weight of your body in the chair, you deprive the mind of its fuel. You anchor it in the only reality that exists, the now. This is the training. It's not something you do once, but a continuous practice of returning to the present, returning to observation, returning to your position as the silent master of your own mental home. The mind is not your enemy. It is a powerful tool that has been left to operate unsupervised for too long. Now, you are taking command, not with force, but with gentle and relentless presence. And the first practical command is the simplest and the most profound. This is where the wisdom of Thoth becomes a practical tool. The first step in ignoring reality is not denial, but the strategic withdrawal of your energy investment. This requires discipline. You must learn to see the fire of the problem without adding more fuel. The immediate practice is this. For one day, observe your reactions. When faced with an undesirable situation, instead of reacting with your usual emotion, take a deep breath and say internally, "I see this, but I am not this." This is an echo of the past, and I choose not to give it power over my present. It's not about pretending the problem doesn't exist, but about refusing to give it the power to dictate your inner state. This first phase, which lasts only one day, is a diagnostic and intensive training exercise. Its sole purpose is observation without reaction. When the stressful email arrives, notice the tension in your shoulders, the tightness in your stomach. Breathe. Don't respond immediately. Just observe the storm of sensations and thoughts without becoming the storm. You are learning to separate the stimulus from the response. In this space that you create resides all your freedom. You are proving to yourself that you are not a reactive automaton. The silence here is twofold. It's the external silence of not complaining, not venting, not amplifying the problem with words. And it's the internal silence of not surrendering to the mental narrative of panic. Every time you refuse to react, you are removing a drop of energy from the matrix of the problem. At the end of the day, you will have removed a significant amount of fuel that would otherwise have fed the fire of your unwanted reality. You are letting the problem starve to death. This act of energetic containment is profoundly powerful. It signals to the universe and your own subconscious that you are no longer available for that drama. You are shifting your vibrational signature from participant in the problem to neutral observer. And reality, which is a mirror, cannot continue to reflect a drama for someone who refuses to participate in it. Your neutrality is an act of recalibration. It is the starting point for dissolving the old matrix. Don't underestimate the difficulty of this first step. Your mind and body are conditioned to react. The urge to worry, to complain, to try to fix things immediately will be immense. Treat it like an addiction in withdrawal. The urge to react is a symptom of detoxification. Just observe it, breathe through it, and stand firm in your decision of emotional non-engagement. You're not being passive. You are being strategically inactive, which is a much higher form of action. This first day of silence and observation prepares the ground. It creates a small, clean space in your inner landscape, a place where something new can be planted. You are demonstrating to yourself that it is possible to exist amidst chaos without becoming chaos. You are discovering that your peace doesn't need to depend on the absence of problems. It can be a fortress you build in the midst of battle, a fortress made of silence and presence. By the end of this day, you will have proven to yourself that your external reality has no inherent power over your inner state. You are the source. You are the authority. This knowledge, not just intellectual but experienced in the body, is the foundation upon which everything else will be built. You have broken the first link in the chain. Now, you are ready for the next step, dissolving the importance that holds the rest of the structure together. The universe doesn't judge your requests as good or bad. It simply delivers a perfect match to the energetic signal you are consistently transmitting. Your focus is a command. Your feelings are the signature that validates that command. Focusing on lack with a feeling of fear is energetically shouting, "More lack, please." Reality isn't punishing you. It's responding to your instruction with impeccable precision. Trying to change your external circumstances through effort and worry is like trying to alter a reflection by manipulating a mirror. Change must be internal, at the core of your energetic emission. Think of the universe as perfectly fertile soil. It doesn't decide whether the seed you plant is a fragrant flower or a poisonous weed. It simply provides the ideal conditions for any seed given to it to germinate and grow. Your dominant thoughts and emotions are the seeds you plant at every moment. Your external reality is the inevitable harvest. You have been focusing on the bitter harvest, without realizing that the choice of seed has always been in your hands. The responsibility is total, and this is not a burden. It is your liberation. The mirror's impartiality is your greatest ally. It means that the moment you change the signal, the reflection is obliged to change. There is no delay due to punishment or merit. The delay you perceive is only the time it takes for the energy to condense into matter, and the time it takes you to consistently sustain the new frequency. Reality has no will of its own. It is an obedient servant of your consciousness. It cannot bring you prosperity if you are emitting a frequency of scarcity, just as a mirror cannot show a smile if you are frowning. Your task is not to convince the universe to give you what you want. It is to align yourself vibrationally with the reality you wish to experience. This removes the struggle, the negotiation, the bargaining. You don't need to be good enough or deserving. You only need to be a vibrational match. The question to ask yourself is not, what do I have to do to achieve this? But rather, who do I have to be for this to be a natural consequence? The change is one of identity, not of action. Action becomes a spontaneous result of your new identity. When you understand this mechanism, fear dissolves. You realize that nothing is permanently wrong. Your circumstances are merely a temporary reflection of a past thought pattern. They don't define you. You can begin to look at your challenges with a certain distance, almost like a game. You see the manifestation of your old energy and, instead of despair, you can simply think, understood. Time to send a new signal. You become the operator of your own reality, no longer its victim. The beauty of this system is that it is infallible. It works every time, for everyone. The law of correspondence is as fundamental as the law of gravity. It never fails. If your outer world does not correspond to your desire, the only possible explanation is that your inner world, your dominant state of being, does not yet correspond to it. The investigation must always turn inward. Where am I still vibrating in lack? Where am I still clinging to need? Where am I giving my power to the echo of the past? This perception places you in a position of absolute power. If you are the source of the problem, you are also and always will be the source of the solution. You need nothing outside of yourself. The power to transmute any reality resides at the center of your own being. The mirror is merely waiting for your new instructions. And the next command is one of deliberate disarmament. The second stage of the method is deliberate neutrality. Over the next 7 days, your goal is to reduce the importance of everything. Look at your goals not as life or death necessities, but as preferences. I would prefer to have more money, but my peace doesn't depend on it right now. This subtle shift in language disarms the forces of balance. By removing the burden of excessive importance, you dissolve the energetic pressure that generated the obstacles. You move from a state of anxious wanting to one of confident having, knowing that what is meant to be yours will come without struggle, as a natural result of your new alignment. This phase is an active exercise in detachment. You look at your biggest dream and your biggest fear and try to find the same point of inner stillness in relation to both. This doesn't mean you become apathetic or indifferent. It means your inner peace ceases to be held hostage by external outcomes. You are removing your emotional well-being from the roller coaster of circumstances. You are anchoring your peace in something much more stable, your own conscious presence. It's a radical act of emotional self-sufficiency. In practice, this is like observing your desires and worries as if they were clouds passing in the sky. A cloud in the form of a promotion passes. You notice it, perhaps even admire it, but you don't cling to it. A cloud in the form of debt passes. You notice it, acknowledge its dark shape, but you don't invite it to stay. You remain like the sky, vast and undisturbed, allowing everything to come and go. This practice weakens the tyranny of the mind, which insists that you must cling to one and fight against the other. This neutrality is the frequency of silent power. It is the calmness of the martial arts master, who doesn't need to prove his strength. It is the confidence of the experienced player, who knows that the game is played with skill and calmness, not with desperation. By reducing importance, you stop leaking energy. You become a contained and coherent system. And this coherence is magnetically powerful. The universe doesn't respond to your cry of need, but to your whisper of certainty. Neutrality is the quickest path to this certainty. During these 7 days, observe how your mind will resist. It will tell you that if you don't worry, things will fall apart. It will tell you that if you don't desire intensely, you won't have the motivation. Recognize this voice as the problem addiction program. It's the ego fighting to keep its job as a crisis manager. Thank it for the service and gently return to your practice of neutrality. You are teaching yourself that it's safe to let go of control, that flow is more powerful than force. This practice of transforming needs into preferences has a profound side effect. It brings you into the present. When you're not constantly projecting yourself into a future of success or failure, you land in the only place where life truly happens, the now. And in the now, you discover a richness that doesn't depend on circumstances. You discover the peace that is always available beneath the noise of the mind. You begin to experience prosperity as a state of being, even before it manifests externally. By the end of this phase, you will have deactivated the main self-sabotaging mechanism, overemphasis on self-importance. You will have cut off the energy source of the balancing forces that were blocking your path. You will have created a state of allowance. You are no longer pushing the river. You are floating with it. And in doing so, you create the space necessary for real magic to happen. By withdrawing your attention and emotional energy from what you don't want, you create a vacuum. This is not a vacuum of emptiness, but a fertile vacuum, a space of pure potential. It is the silence necessary for a new reality to take shape. Nature abhors a vacuum and will hasten to fill it. And what will fill it? Whatever dominates your new focus. That is why the next step is not just to ignore the negative, but to deliberately fill that space with the energy of what you desire. Not as a distant goal, but as a present and internally lived reality. Imagine your field of consciousness as a garden. When you stop watering the weeds of worry and reaction, they begin to wither. The soil they occupied becomes exposed, empty. This is the creative vacuum. If you do nothing, random seeds blown by the wind from the external environment, the opinions of others, the news, collective fears, will land there and begin to grow. Your task is to be a deliberate gardener. You must consciously choose which seeds to plant in this newly freed soil. This vacuum is the 0 point, the field of all possibilities mentioned in quantum physics. It is a state of pure potentiality, before consciousness collapses it into a specific experience. By practicing energetic withdrawal and neutrality, you return to this 0 point. You become the observer before the observation. From this place, you are no longer trying to change an existing reality. You are choosing a new reality to emerge from the field of infinite potential. It is a shift from reformer to creator. The mistake many make is stopping at the withdrawal phase. They manage to ignore the negative, but leave the vacuum empty. This can lead to a feeling of apathy or drift. The power lies not only in emptying, but in deliberately filling. The universe needs clear instructions. The vacuum you created is an invitation. Your new dominant vibration is the response to that invitation. That's why the next phase is so crucial. You must provide the universe with the blueprint for the new construction. This vacuum also amplifies your creative power. When your energy is no longer being drained by struggle and resistance, it accumulates within you. You become energetically potent. Any intention you place in this vacuum will be charged with tremendous force. It's like focusing sunlight through a magnifying glass. The energy that was previously scattered and ineffective now becomes concentrated and capable of igniting the fire of creation. This is why the work of cleansing and emptying must come first. Do not fear this space of not knowing. The conditioned mind may interpret it as loss or uncertainty, but in truth it is your greatest power. It is the blank canvas before the masterpiece. It is the fertile silence from which the most beautiful music can be born. Embrace the void. Feel its power. Feel the freedom of no longer being defined by the past. You are on the threshold of creation, in the sacred space between what was and what can be. Now that the ground has been cleared and the soil is fertile, it's time to plant. But you won't plant a seed of I want. You will plant the seed of I am. You won't aim for a desired future. You will embody that future now, in the only moment that exists. Now, we enter the final phase of the method. Incarnation. For 21 days, your only task is to feel what it would be like if your desire were already fulfilled. This is not about forced visualization, but about inhabiting the state of being. How would you walk, talk, and feel if prosperity were already yours? Feel the calm, the security, the freedom. Do this for a few minutes each day. This is not an act of faking it till you make it, but an act of being in order to become. You are sending a new signal, a new blueprint for the universe to mirror. You are becoming the person who already has what they desire, making external manifestation a mere formality. The key here is feeling. The subconscious mind and the universe don't respond to empty images or words. They respond to the universal language of emotion. You can visualize $1 million, but if the feeling behind it is one of need and doubt, the universe will respond to the doubt, not the image. The question isn't, what would I see? But how would I feel? Feel the relief in your shoulders. Feel the expansion in your chest. Feel the calm in your nervous system. Feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. This practice of embodiment is a neurological recalibration. Brain science shows that when you feel an emotion intensely, your brain doesn't distinguish whether the cause is real or imagined. It releases the same neurotransmitters and creates the same neural pathways. By practicing the feeling of already having, you are reconfiguring your brain and body to live in a new reality. You are teaching your nervous system to feel safe and comfortable with abundance long before it arrives. Make this a daily ritual. Find a quiet moment, close your eyes, and immerse yourself in the feeling. Don't force it. Just allow the sensation of your fulfilled desire to fill you. What does it feel like to wake up without financial worries? What does it feel like to walk through the world with a sense of complete security and freedom? Let that feeling become more real and familiar than your current problems. You are building a new vibrational home for yourself, and external reality will eventually have to rearrange itself to match that new address. Throughout the day, bring small flashes of this feeling into your daily activities. While having coffee, savor it with the gratitude of someone who has everything they need. While walking down the street, walk with the posture and confidence of someone who is a success. You don't need to announce this to the world. It's an inner secret, a game you play with yourself. You are weaving the energy of your new reality into the fabric of your daily life. making the transition smooth and natural. This 21-day process is based on the science of habit formation. It takes time for new neural pathways to strengthen and for old thought patterns to atrophy from lack of use. Consistency is more important than intensity. It's better to feel sincerely for 5 minutes every day than to forcefully do it for an hour once a week. You are building energetic momentum. Each day you practice, you add more energy to your new creation. Remember, you're not trying to attract something from the outside. You're awakening something that already exists within you as potential. Prosperity, love, peace. These are not things to be acquired. They are aspects of your own consciousness to be activated. By embodying the feeling, you are simply flipping the switch. And while you do this, there is one final and crucial rule to observe, to protect this delicate process. The title of this knowledge contains a crucial instruction. Don't tell anyone until it happens. This is not an act of superstition, but of energetic protection. When you share a fragile, newly planted desire, you expose it to the doubts, fears, and self-importance energies of others. Their opinions, even if well-intentioned, can create new balancing forces, new distortions in the energetic field you are carefully cultivating. Silence protect your goal in the cocoon of your own conviction, allowing it to gain strength without external interference until it is robust enough to manifest. Think of your new intention as a seed that has just germinated. It is small, green, and extremely vulnerable. Exposing this tiny seedling to a whirlwind of opinions, even if they are breezes of good luck laden with anxiety, can break it. Another person's doubt, even if unexpressed, is energy. Envy, skepticism, worry, all these are frequencies that can interfere with your own emission. Silence is the greenhouse that protects your plant until it develops a strong trunk and deep roots. Talking about your plans before they materialize also dissipates creative energy. The very act of speaking releases some of the energetic tension that was building momentum for manifestation. You feel temporary relief, a substitute satisfaction, upon receiving validation or admiration from others. This can reduce your own internal need to bring the project to its physical conclusion. You spend energy on conversation instead of creation. Silence keeps the energetic pressure contained and focused on a single point: manifestation. This principle was known to all mystery schools and alchemical traditions. The fourth power of the Sphinx, after knowing, daring, and willing, is silence. Silence is a sign of power and mastery. It demonstrates that you don't need external validation to uphold your vision. Your conviction is so strong that it is self-sufficient. You become the sole authority over your reality. Speaking about your plans is often an unconscious request for permission or approval, which puts you back in a position of powerlessness. The exception to this rule is sharing with someone who is at an equal or higher level of consciousness, who can hold the space for your vision without adding their own energy of self-importance or doubt. A mentor or a mastery partner. But, in the absence of such a person, silence is your safest bet. Protect your dream like a lioness protects her cubs. Don't display it to the world in its infancy. Let it grow in the safety of your inner sanctuary. When you share the result after it has happened, the dynamic is completely different. You are no longer seeking validation. You are sharing a story of power. You are inspiring, not asking. The energy is one of celebration, not need. The manifestation is already anchored in the physical plane, solid and real. It can no longer be shaken by the opinions of others. The time to speak is when the proof is undeniable. Keep your secret. Let people's curiosity be piqued by your shift in energy, your newfound calm and confidence, not by your words. Let them see the transformation in you before they hear about it. Silence is your cocoon. Within it, The transmutation is taking place. And soon, the signs of this transformation will begin to appear in the outside world. How will you know if it's working? You'll start noticing small changes, synchronicities, an unexpected idea, a chance encounter, an opportunity that seems to arise out of nowhere. These are the first whispers of your new reality, the first raindrops before the storm of abundance. Don't cling to them with excessive importance. Simply acknowledge them with a nod of silent gratitude. They are proof that the mirror is beginning to reflect your new image. They are confirmation that you have changed the cause, and the effect is bound to follow. These signs are the language of the universe confirming that your new transmission has been received. It might be finding a feather in your path right after your incarnation practice. It might be hearing a song on the radio with the exact lyrics you needed to hear. It might be seeing repeated numerical sequences. These are not random magical events. They are the quantum field organizing itself around your new frequency, creating patterns of meaning. They are bridges between your inner world and the outer world. Your intuition will also become clearer and higher. You will have sudden insights into what action to take, a sudden urge to call a specific person or visit a particular place. Follow these impulses. They are your new self, the self that already has what it desires, guiding you along the path of least resistance toward physical manifestation. Inspired action is very different from forced action. Forced action comes from the anxious mind. Inspired action comes from the calm flow of alignment. It feels light, easy, and obvious. You will also notice a change in how people react to you. People who were previously difficult may become more cooperative. Strangers may smile at you for no apparent reason. New people who resonate with your new frequency will begin to appear in your life. At the same time, some people from your past may naturally drift away. Don't cling to them. It's a sign that your frequencies are no longer compatible. Your energy field is being cleansed and updated. The most important thing is not to turn the search for signs into a new source of importance and anxiety. If you desperately look for them, you reintroduce the energy of lack and doubt. Just relax and remain in your state of being. The signs will appear as a natural consequence. The best attitude is one of playful surprise. Oh, look, there it is again. It's a game of discovery, not a validation test. The real validation has already happened within you. These small events are like the lights on an airport runway, guiding the plane of your manifestation to a safe landing. They show you that you are on the right path. They encourage you to continue. Each synchronicity is a reminder of the power you are wielding and the benevolent intelligence of the universe that is conspiring with you. Not because you asked for it, but because you have become a vibrational correspondent for its help. Continue to anchor yourself in the feeling of fulfilled desire. Continue to practice neutrality and silence. The signs will become more and more frequent and more significant. They are the prelude. They are evidence that the old structure is beginning to give way, making way for the new. As you continue to inhabit your new state of being, the old reality will begin to dissolve. Problems that seemed like insurmountable mountains will reveal themselves as mere illusions. The circumstances that held you chained will lose their power. This may happen gradually or suddenly, but it will happen. You will look back and barely recognize the person who lived in constant struggle and reaction. You will have become the master of your inner world, and as a consequence, the conscious architect of your outer world. You are no longer fighting against the echo. You have become the very source of the sound. This dissolution process can sometimes seem chaotic. It's what's known as the bridge of incidents. Sometimes, for the new reality to manifest, the old structure needs to be dismantled. This might look like losing a job so a better one can emerge, It might look like the end of a relationship to make room for a more aligned one. Trust the process. The universe is simply clearing the ground for your new construction. Don't confuse the demolition with a sign that things are going wrong. You'll notice that the triggers that once sent you spiraling into anxiety or anger now have little or no effect. You observe them with a detached calm, as if watching an old movie. The emotional charge is gone. This happens because you are no longer the person defined by those triggers. You fundamentally changed your identity. The old reality searches for its old anchor points within you and finds nothing. With nowhere to cling to, it simply dissolves. The feeling is one of lightness. A weight you didn't even know you were carrying is lifted from your shoulders. You move through life with more ease and grace. Things simply seem to work. Solutions appear even before problems solidify. Flow becomes your natural state. You stop trying to control life and instead dance with it. The struggle ceases because you realized there was never an enemy. There was only a reflection of your own inner resistance. This is the point where the main physical manifestation usually occurs. It arrives not as a shocking and miraculous event, but as the next logical and natural step in your new trajectory. Often, you will look back and see how each synchronicity, each insight, each apparent detour was a perfectly orchestrated step that led you exactly to that point. Manifestation is not the end of the journey. It is the confirmation that you were on the right journey all along. The old persona, the one that lived in lack and reaction, may be taking its last breaths. Thoughts of doubt may arise. This is too good to be true. When will the other boot fall? Recognize them as the final echoes of the old programming. Don't give them energy. Just return to your grounded state, to your calm certainty. You are no longer that person. You now operate from a new paradigm, a new operating system. You have become living proof that reality is not something that happens to you, but something that flows through you. You have learned the art of ignoring the reflection to become the source. You have mastered silence, neutrality, and embodiment. You are no longer at the mercy of the world. The world is at the mercy of your consciousness. And now, it is time to anchor this power permanently. You who have come this far understand. You haven't learned a technique. You've rediscovered an innate power. Now, the final activation. Take this feeling of calm and certainty that you have cultivated and anchor it in your heart. This is your new default frequency. From this moment on, you no longer ignore reality by effort, but by nature, because your true reality is the one you choose to generate from within. If this message resonated with you, share in the comments a single word that describes your new state of being. Not for me, but as an act of declaration to the universe. Together, we create a field of prosperity that expands, transforming not only our lives, but the collective consciousness. This final act of declaration is not to seek validation, but to solidify your new identity. By choosing a word, be it fullness, flow, peace, freedom, and writing it down, you are performing a symbolic act of anchoring. You are saying to the universe and to yourself, "This is who I am now." It is your personal seal on your new contract with reality. It is your graduation from this intensive training. You are planting your flag in the territory of your new consciousness. By sharing this word, you also contribute to a collective energy field. Each declaration of power and alignment joins with others, creating a wave of resonance that makes it easier for the next person to awaken. You are not just uplifting yourself. You are helping to raise the consciousness of the planet. Your personal transformation becomes a beacon, a frequency of possibility that others can tune into, even unconsciously. Prosperity is not a zero-sum game. The more you have, the more there is for everyone. From now on, your practice changes. It ceases to be an effort and becomes a maintenance. Your task is simply to remain in this new state of being. Continue to observe your mind, but now with the ease of a master. Continue to choose your feelings, but now as an artist chooses their colors. The struggle is over. What remains is the continuous creation, expansion, and expression of your true nature, which is inherently abundant and free. Always remember, external reality is an echo. Never again give it the power to be the voice. The voice is within you. You are the cause. The world is the effect. Live from this unwavering certainty. When challenges arise, for life is movement, you will no longer see them as threats, but as opportunities to practice your mastery, to deepen your presence, and to express your new identity in even more creative ways. This knowledge is not meant to be kept, but to be lived. Don't turn it into just another intellectual concept. Embody it, breathe it in, make it your message. Let your life be irrefutable proof that it's possible to transcend circumstances and deliberately create from the power of your own being. Prosperity is not something you seek, it's something you allow, and your permission is now fully granted. The cycle of struggle has ended. A new cycle of flow and conscious creation begins now. Your word is the portal. By writing it, you are not ending a process. You are declaring the beginning of your true life. The universe is listening. Declare who you are. If you've made it this far, it's because you're no longer seeking answers, but rather confirmation of a power you've always felt within you. To seal this new awareness and declare your decision to the universe, leave the following phrase in the comments. My reality obeys my silence. This is your first act as the architect of your own life. If this video touched your soul, I have an invitation that goes beyond knowledge. For our mission to stay alive and reach more minds, we need to walk together. Today, the most powerful way to support this channel is through an exchange. By purchasing the ebooks, the Thoth Code, and the Monad Code, you receive the keys to mental alchemy and the laws of consciousness, and we receive the support we need to keep going. It is not just a purchase. It is your seal of commitment to the awakening we promote here. Without this support, our journey becomes limited. The link is pinned in the first comment. Shall we keep this frequency active?